Like
Or tall?
Spoken like a true realtor.
Like 30, 35 probably.
Nice.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, close to that.
I'm sure getting the cobwebs down is a lot of fun.
That's my summer job.
Yeah, right?
My mom's always like, you got a little bit of time? And I was like, yes, Mom.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock and we're now live on PEG, on YouTube, on Facebook, and Granicus.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I want to call the meeting to order, 9 a.m., and then we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have action on the minutes from January 28th, 2021.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I move that the commission pass the minutes from the January 28, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a second. Give roll call vote, please.
You're muted, Trish.
Okay, Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Motion so carries.
Do we have any citizens input?
Mr. Chair, there's no one outside the building also wanting to make comment.
Okay, thank you.
Should I unmute the Zoom room here?
Yes, please.
Oh, right. So I've offered an unmute request out to the Zoom room floor. If you'd like to make a comment, please unmute and state your first and last name.
Two more minutes.
We are waiting for the 9:05, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well then I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna jump in on the untimed staff update, and then I am going to probably leave the meeting and turn it over to Tokara. I just wanted to say good morning to everybody. Please know that we are working diligently here on the third floor to be bringing you way more projects. We just sent contracts to County Council to bring in 2 or 3 or possibly 4 consultants. It might be 4 consultants to assist us with the review of initial studies. And we are planning on some pretty hefty agendas here in the very near future. So just wanted to make you all aware of that. Appreciate your patience. This is a work in progress, complicated by, having to close the counter and the office to the public. So we had to really try to build a new process while still trying to get stuff done. So we're getting there. Just wanted you to know that we're working pretty hard to bring lots of projects to you, which we plan to do. So with that, have a great rest of the day. And if you have any specific questions for me, I can stick around, but I was going to jump off if you don't have anything for me.
Thanks, Scott.
Got.
Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
It's 9:05. We're going to go ahead and take up our only item for the day. Public hearing on consideration of major use permit, UP 19-30, and negative declaration, IS 19-48. The project applicant is Stott Outdoor Advertising. Owner Joseph Doyle is proposing a new 22-foot tall billboard on a 1.26 plus property. Each face is 300 square feet in area. Proposed setback is 7.5 feet from Highway 20 fronting property line. Project location is 2450 Stokes Road, Nice, and further described as APN 004-055-23. We have staff presenting or?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Eric.
Welcome on this slightly gray day today. Like Chairman Brown indicated, we have a request for a billboard. It's a major use permit, design review, and initial study, which was actually not a mitigated negative declaration. It was simply a negative declaration because there were no mitigation measures needed through the environmental report. Property is located at 2450 Stokes Avenue in Nice. Proposed sign is actually 25 feet tall. That was my mistake. So the reference to the 22-foot height should not be in there. Couple of housekeeping things. Page 4 of the staff report makes reference to commercial cannabis. Well, what I wrote is true, but it doesn't apply to this application. The other thing is on page 12, the proposed motions. If the commission decides to approve this sign, there needs to be a reference to DR 19-03, and that would be part of the motion. And so the words, I move that the Planning Commission find the use permit UP 19-30 and DR 19-03 needs to be inserted in there because this is also a design review application. So having said all that, applicant is proposing this sign in the C3 zoning district. They've sought 2.5 feet relief to the setback, which is typically 10 feet or more. And they're proposing to go down to a setback distance of 7.5 feet. They're allowed to do that through a minor use permit, but since they applied for a major use permit, that's perfectly acceptable if the Planning Commission decides to adopt and approve this sign. Like with any major use permit, they have to meet 6 findings in order to approve the sign. And those findings are, beginning on page 9 of the staff report, that the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the use will not be detrimental to the health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare of the persons residing or working in the neighborhood, that the site is adequately sized, shaped, and locationally correct for the proposal, that streets, highways, pedestrian facilities are reasonably adequate, there is adequate public and private services available, that the project is in conformance with applicable provisions of the code, general plan, and in this case, the Upper Lake Nice area plan, and that there are no violations on the property that may otherwise affect your ability to approve the sign. A little bit of background. There were two signs that came before the Planning Commission in 2018. One was located less than a block away from this proposed location, same zone, the C3 zone. Another one was proposed in Clear Lake Oaks in an agriculturally significant area. Both signs were denied by the Planning Commission. Both signs were appealed, and the Board of Supervisors ultimately approved the sign that's located a block away from where this sign is proposed, with the findings that the C3 zone, and in particular this specific area, were appropriate for that type of use. It tends to be more heavy commercial, industrially oriented in that part of Nice, and the board felt that this general location was appropriate for a billboard. They did not make the same finding for the one that's located near a vineyard, probably 10 miles south of where this sign is proposed. That sign was denied by the board. So I just wanted to give you that background. The board found that this general area is appropriate for this type of a use. So billboards are allowed in the C3 zone subject to design review, use permit approval, and adoption of a negative declaration. So with that, we are recommending that the sign be approved with the height of 25 feet and the setback of 7.5 feet from the property line. And so I think that unless the commission has any specific questions for me, I'm going to end my presentation.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Eric, thanks for that. I think I'm the only commissioner still sitting who was there for that hearing a few years ago where we denied both of the signs. And I do recall that the board ultimately went ahead and approved one of them. I think we were making a point with that. Every commissioner at that time was generally not in favor of billboards, period. But we do realize that when the zoning ordinance is written the way it is, there's nothing for me to oppose. It conforms. The board has found that a sign in a similar zone nearby conforms. And I just wanted to offer that background for the rest of my colleagues who didn't have the benefit of being at that particular hearing.
Thank you, John.
Yes, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Eric?
No.
I have a question, actually. I was reading some of the attachments that were sent to us, and one of them was from Caltrans. So I understand that the setback is going to be 7.5 feet, but in here I was reading that they required like a 20-foot setback or something like that.
Yes, that's true, but it's from the fog line, and they've gone back over the submittal. Ultimately, they found that the sign is appropriately set back from the fog line. But there was some confusion in it. There was initially 2 other people at Caltrans that reviewed the sign. The person that wrote the December 11th letter is fairly new there, and the site plan is not terribly specific in terms of the distance set back from the fog line. I think the new Caltrans employee was confused with it. I asked Mr. Rediker to deal directly with Caltrans to resolve it. And so she sent the letter on December 11th indicating that she doesn't mention the setback at all. So when I talked to her by phone, she indicated that the setback was appropriate. It was not problematic, and that Mr. Rediker is going to have to go through the Caltrans sign permitting process, which would include an encroachment permit from Caltrans, and they have some kind of a sign agreement for billboards that are along the highway. So that would for him to legally place the sign on the site. Caltrans has jurisdiction in addition to the county in this matter.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, when I read that that letter, it just seemed like they were just kind of going through like basic protocol of what they would normally do if something was going to be built. So like that's kind of like the gist that I got off of it. And it just made, you know, I was just that question came up of why they had said that, but it just seemed like they were just following some kind of protocol and not really looking at the entire aspect of, the whole project itself. So, but thank you for clarifying that.
She was pretty specific in terms of her concerns about the setback prior to the December 11th letter. But over the course of about 3 weeks, she had a level of comfort with the placement of the sign. And so I agree with you, Commissioner. I think that the letter dated December 11th is more of a, well, for lack of a better word, a housekeeping letter.
Yeah. Thank you.
Eric?
Yes.
John Hess. Is it one big sign that's going to be up there, or does the space permit for 2 signs? I saw a reference to 2 signs in the staff report at one point and wanted to clarify that.
No, I think the reference to 2 signs applied to the fact that there are other signs in the near proximity. There's only one sign proposed. It happens to be double face, but it's one physical sign.
Got it.
So it would be visible from both directions of travel.
So it's at 90 degrees to the road rather than panoramically along the road?
That's my understanding. So it can be viewed from both travel directions.
Thanks.
I saw the sign, if I could just interject. I thought the sign was like this, so double-sided. So not facing the road, but like this, so you could see it one direction and the other direction. So.
If we have no further questions for Eric, did the applicant want to present some information?
Yes, thank you very much, and good morning, members of the commission and planning staff. My name is Greg Redeker. I'm representing Stott Outdoor Advertising today. I just wanted to, first of all, thank staff for their efforts in getting this project to the commission. It's been a long and winding road. I know that the county has faced some significant challenges in terms of workload and staffing, all while having to deal with the COVID and work from home and things like that. So I just wanted to express my sincere thanks for getting this to the Planning Commission. I have just a couple photos here that I'd like to show you to give you an idea of what it is we're looking at. Can you guys see that there?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just a bit about Stott. We've been in business for 70 years, operating out of Butte County that whole time. We're an independent business, and we operate in 24 California counties, plus portions of Oregon and Nevada. We've also partnered with a number of local jurisdictions for doing advertising on buses, as well as transit shelters, and then also for gateway signs, such as, digital signs that say, welcome to city, such and such. That contain both advertising as well as public service announcement type things. Talking about the other signs in the area, this is just a quick perspective showing where our sign is going to be going, and then the other signs that do exist in the area. You can also see on this aerial photograph a number of other businesses, including mini storages, tow yard, garden supply store, things like that. Why here? Because we have business demand. People want to advertise, and we don't have any inventory that we can provide to them right now. So there is demand from Lake County businesses. They do find these signs helpful. It's good for the local economy and good for local tax revenues. And then here's just an indicator of the zoning. As you can see, the property is zone C3, which is the heaviest commercial zoning that the county has. And then here's the site plan in case anyone had any questions about that. You can see it is indeed a V-build type configuration with a little bit of an angle for optimal visibility from the highway. This is going to be largely identical to the one that exists just a short distance to the west. It's going to have that attractive faux stone veneer on the bottom of the pole, and it's going to have the lighting up at the top shining down consistent with county standards. Here's a big question, what's going to be looking like. These were contained in the staff report in one of the attachments. They were a little lower quality, so I thought I would provide them here today. So here's the existing view, or at least how it was in the fall of 2019 when we applied for the project, showing what the area looks like from the east. And here's what it's going to look like with the sign built. Similarly, we have, this is what it looks like or looked like in fall of 2019 from the west. And here's what it's going to look like with the sign built. So as you can see, it's consistent with the overall scale of the local buildings and other trees in the area. It's not dominating the landscape in any way. One item that Eric did touch on was the height. So it will be 22 feet tall, measured from the grade of Highway 20. That is because there is a grade differential. You can see in this photograph here the height of the cars that are in relation to the fence. That is a 6 foot tall fence, and this shot is being taken from eye level. The road is approximately 4 feet above the location where the pole is going to go, so we are asking for 3 feet, so just a little bit of additional height. It'll still be perceived as no taller than 12 feet above the grade of Highway 20. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to thank the staff for bringing this to the commission again and recommending approval. We do have a couple little minor things. First of all, the height that I mentioned. Secondly, condition number 13, we would respectfully ask for the commission's consideration to strike that condition. Let me stop sharing here. Condition 13 has to do with mitigation monitoring. As Eric mentioned, there are no mitigation measures for this project. The sign is not something with ongoing operational aspects like a cannabis cultivation or an event center where you have to continually visit the site and make sure they're continuing to comply with the conditions of approval. In this case, there are no moving parts. Once we build the sign consistent with the county standards, it's just there. So we would respectfully request that condition number 13 be struck. And then there were also the dates. Some of the dates in the staff report reflect that the project was originally being considered for the January 28th Planning Commission hearing. And so it is now on February 11th, and we can't actually get the permit until after the appeal period has passed. So we would respectfully request that the dates talking about the issue date of the permit and the other anniversaries thereof actually be based on February 18th, which is 7 days after today, after the appeal period for this meeting has concluded. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission has.
Mr. Redeker?
Yes.
This is Commissioner Hess. Did the county impose a similar monitoring agreement on your other signs already in the area?
No, they did not.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay, I want to open this up to for citizens, for the public to comment. Do we have anybody in the Zoom room? Any comments?
All right. I've sent a unmute request out to the Zoom room floor. If you'd like to make a comment, please unmute and state your first and last name.
Okay, if we have no public comment, I'm going to bring it back to the board.
There appears to be no public outside the building either, Chair.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any final questions or any additional information they'd like to ask?
Mr. Chair?
We can entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would support striking condition 13, since that would be inconsistently applied to one sign and not other signs by this company in the area. I will make the general comment that I'm not a fan of billboards, but this, in terms of the zoning ordinance as it exists today, this application looks to me like it's correct and meets all of the requirements. But it seems odd to me that we would charge such a monitoring agreement fee for one sign for this on another sign 10 miles away.
Thank you. Any other comment?
Nope.
Okay, would somebody like to entertain a motion?
It's at District 3, isn't it?
It is. So he can't do
Oh,
it.
of course.
Thank you.
Do we, just before I start reading, do we need to add any other verbiage that Eric had mentioned or about the dates, or is that something that will already be addressed?
The dates we can correct fairly easily. They're
Okay.
January 28th on the conditions, so I can make that change after the meeting. No changes needed other than on my end. You do need to add in the DR 19-03 after use permit.
19-3. I see that. And did you say P as in Paul or B as in boy?
It would be D like David, R.
Good thing I asked.
UP 1903. Yeah, it stands for design review.
Okay. With that being said, I can go ahead and make a motion. I move that the Planning Commission find that the initial study IS 19-48 applied for by Stott Outdoor Advertising on property located at 2450 Stokes Road, Nice, and further described as APN 004-055-23 will not have a significant effect on the environment, and therefore a mitigated declaration shall be approved with the findings listed in the staff report dated February 11th, 2021.
We have a second.
Second?
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Motion so carries.
I move that the Planning Commission find that the use permit UP 19-30 and DR-1903 applied for by Stott Outdoor Advertising on property located at 2450 Stokes Road, Nice, and further described as APN 004-055-23 does meet the requirements of section 5.1.4 of the Lake County zoning ordinance, and the major use permit be granted subject to the conditions and with the findings listed in the staff report dated February 11th, 2021.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner
Chair?
Brown,
Yes.
The applicant has his hand raised.
I just wanted to clarify that was with condition number 13 removed.
To my understanding, yes. Can we have council advise, please?
So what is the question specifically? I'm sorry.
Had to do with the request for eliminating condition number 13 that had to do with the mitigation monitoring plan and fee.
And Nicole, just FYI, this is Commissioner Hess. I spoke in favor of, in agreement with deleting 13.
I just want to be clear what the question is for me. Are you asking if the Planning Commission can delete?
No, if
think
it
it's
has to be addressed verbally, like before we read the approval, I believe that the applicant wants to know that that has been removed as a condition.
You may amend, as commissioners, if you choose, you may amend the recommendation that staff has made. So you may remove, and when you're making the motion, you can say as amended if you wish to remove that condition.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, do you want me to reread the motion and then add that verbiage in there, or are
Yes, please. If
Okay.
you could please read it again and add the verbiage.
I'm gonna
Thank
go
you.
ahead and read it again. Thank you. Woo, okay. I move that the Planning Commission find that the use permit UP 19-30 and DR-1903 applied for by Stott Outdoor Advertising on property located at 2450 Stokes Road, Nice, and further described as APN 004-055-23 does meet the requirements of section 5.1.4 of the Lake County zoning ordinance, and the major use permit be granted subject to the conditions and with the amended removal of item 13 and with the findings listed in the staff report dated February 11, 2021.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
and Commissioner Williams.
We didn't hear you, Lance.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion so carries.
Thank you. Okay, we want to note that the applicant or any interested person is reminded that the zoning ordinance provides for a 7 calendar day appeal period. If there's a disagreement with the planning commission, an appeal to the board of supervisors may be filed. Appropriate forms and applicable fees must be submitted prior to 5 p.m. on or before the 7th calendar day following the commission's final determination. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any on-time staff updates?
Good morning, Commission. The only thing I want to say is just, I keep saying it every meeting, I really want to just highlight the epic efforts that the Community Development Department is making. As you know, COVID is an ever-changing landscape, and the team is just admirably rising to the occasion and exceeding it. I'm very proud of the team, very proud of what we accomplished in a short amount of time. So I just want to say that. And then, echo what Scott shared earlier at the top of the meeting. We are working very diligently. And I challenged the planning team to stack a planning commission meeting. So very soon you should have a very lengthy planning commission meeting. And, they are just working so hard. Just to kind of give a little bit, a sense of scale as to what Scott was sharing earlier. We have 284 planning permit applications open. Approximately 50% of those are cannabis permit applications, which take the most amount of time. And when I ran the numbers, it would take us approximately 3.5 years at our current output to get through that backlog. And every day, more applications come in. So I just, again, really want to just highlight the team. They've kept the morale up. The average community development department has maybe 30 permit applications per month, per team. Like the entire team will process 30. We're processing an average of 30 applications per teammate. And, the environmental review is the biggest part of those applications. And, the team is just really, really, really making strides and really coming in every day with a smile on their faces. Morale is up. And I just can't say how much pride that fills me with, because it can feel like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the wall, but they just keep coming in, they keep grinding, they keep, dealing with me and my crazy shenanigans and asking for more and more and more. And I'm very proud of the entire community development department and, the planning division specifically. So that is all that I have to share.
Takara,
Thanks, Takara.
did you say that 60% of your permits are cannabis related?
That's correct.
How is everything coming together with you guys getting that streamlined division for cannabis separate? Are you guys making any progress on that?
Unfortunately, not yet. We went out for recruitment, and the strategy for that is to hire the cannabis program manager and work with him or her to develop a strategy, more detailed strategy for processing cannabis permits. And then once he or she gets their feet underneath them, we'll go out and fully staff the cannabis division. We already went out for recruitment. We're currently waiting to see next steps. And that's about it. So
yeah.
If you know any quality candidates, please send them our way.
Definitely. We appreciate what you guys do. You guys have a lot going on up there. So
yep. We
see you.
It's a team. I really can't speak highly enough of how the team is just coming in together, all the divisions, and we're really gelling as the community development department. Just this week, we implemented the phone tree. It went live, and that was a big win. We went from approximately 60 phone calls a day to something a lot more manageable. That was a big win, and the team did it. They figured out how to effectively process permit applications digitally, and something that I really just, I don't know, I'm a geek, and it just made me smile and made me my heart full when they were showing me how they figured out how to create the stamps digitally. And I don't do a good enough a job of really showing my emotions with the team, but that day it put so much wind in my sails, and the team is just, I can't speak highly enough about the community development department. We are really coming together as a team and doing things together. So unfortunately, I can't invite you to come up here to see it because the courthouse is closed, but you know, around 3 o'clock, the buzz starts going. You know, I hear everyone kind of working together and, you know, brainstorming solutions to problems. And, you know, it's shifted from, you know, me kind of directing things to them saying, oh, I have this idea. And I'm like, yes, let's do it. Because, you know, the team is so smart and intelligent, and they're just kicking butt up here. So I'm really proud of the team. That's all I have to share.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Is there any other office news? Okay, if there's none, I'd like to adjourn the February 11th meeting.
Second.
Is
Thank you.
that it?
Good to see everybody.
That's it.
All right.
Enjoy your day, guys.
Good day.
Bye.
Okay,
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.